Hey guys, Willie Mack here, and today we're going to take a peek at the Xbox Classic. They're on some games and some homebrew on it. Let's go play. First thing we're going to do is obviously turn on the Xbox here. Alright, so we're at the main dashboard on the Xbox. Let me just take you a quick work through here. Get the launch DVD. This just launches whatever DVD is in there, be it a DVD video or an actual game. Xbox games, that's obviously where you'll plop all your games at. Applications, this is basically all your tools and whatnot. Homebrew games, this is anything that's made out of open source code or somebody's own creation. Game management, this is where you can basically turn your actual Xbox games, throw them on the hard drive themselves so you can play without the DVD. Saves manager, that just manages your game saves. Xbox admin, this is where you can switch dashboards, check out system settings, network control, change the skin in Unleash X. Set clock is pretty self-explanatory. Clear cache, that clears basically the Xbox cache. And then you have reboot and shutdown, which work as you'd expect them to. In the bottom right hand corner, you have the IP information. So if you want an FTP on here to transfer files back and forth, you can do that. Mine is set to DHCP, and there are no users connected to it. Up at the top left, you have the date, and then your storage statistics. I don't have a G drive, I just have F and E and C that I can store stuff on. Most of my games are stored on F. The bottom left are the CPU and motherboard temperature readings, and then in the top right is anything in the actual DVD tray, and then the nickname of the console, which I do not have one. Okay, so we're going to start off by grabbing FileZilla Portable on our desktop here. I'm going to launch it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect to my Xbox's IP. And then the username and password by default is set to Xbox. Port 21 is a given. You just press enter and it'll connect. And on the right side here, we have our partitions. The only ones that you really care about is C, E, and F, of course. C being where your Unleash X config file is at, if you ever wanted to modify it. E is where your apps and your dashboard data is actually stored at. F is where you'll store most of your stuff, as well as G if you have it. In my case, I have my homebrew here, and then I have my games right here. So let's go ahead and I will show you how easy it is to basically transfer over some homebrew. We'll open up a zip. I'll just drag this over here like so, and it'll automatically transfer all the files. And then I can go ahead and rename this so it looks better, because I'm OCD about that. And then I'll go ahead and transfer another one. This is Super Mario Wars, the Halloween edition. And then you might see that we have some failed transfers here, which might be because this might be corrupt or whatnot. But we'll let it finish up. 2 maps that are probably named wrong, but it doesn't matter. I can live without 2 maps. And then we'll rename this to Super Mario War HE, because it's the Halloween edition. And that's pretty much it. I can give you a link to in the video description to where I got some of these homebrews things. As far as games go, just use Game to DVD on the Xbox, insert the DVD, and it'll copy everything that you need. As far as games go, onto the drive. That way you won't need the DVD anymore, and you can stuff that in a box and keep it around for safekeeping or whatnot. So back on the Xbox side here, you'll notice if we go into Homebrew Games, none of the new ones that we just popped over there are there. And you also see that we have a user count in the bottom right. So we'll have to basically reboot the console, or basically force a reboot of Unleash X. That way it actually syncs the data that we just transferred over. So if we go in here now, there's our Halloween edition. And yeah, we can go ahead and launch it. And basically works as it should. We'll go ahead and exit. Now some games probably will not show up in the list like they should. And then other games, they won't even be read right. Like in my case, I have Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, but I only get one of the two to show up in my game list. So that's something to keep in mind. If you use an Unleash X, it can be kind of tricky. There's some other dashboards that you probably use, like EvoX or Rocky 5's XBMC skin that's supposed to be looking like Emulation Station. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We have a working Xbox here, filled with games, filled with homebrew games, and working 100%. So I guess that kind of leaves us to game, really. Alright guys, that wraps it up for the Xbox Revitalization project. Tune in next time and we'll probably have something crazy cool to work on. In the meantime, I'll play some Duke Nukem 3D.
Damn, looks like the bastards are gonna pay for shooting up my ride.